All right. All right. So we introduction to data analytics. Okay. So we've seen the definition. That is the process of inspecting, cleaning, transforming, and modeling raw data to discover useful insights, answer questions, and support informed decision making. It bridges the gap between chaotic information or chaotic data and actionable business strategies. What that is saying is when you have data that is not um, analyzed or summarized or visualized in a way that makes it easy to get. Oh, please, there's background sound coming from somewhere. Please, let's just mute so to avoid distractions. So when you want to speak, you just unmute and speak. Hello, where is this sound coming from? Please let's mute ourselves so that there's a sound coming from somewhere. All right, so that's what data analytics is about. So let's proceed. So I was saying that various tools are actually used for data analytics, various lots and lots of them. Okay, but you don't have to learn all the tools, right? Trying to learn all of them is like trying to learn all the programming languages in the world. But sorry, all the languages spoken in this world. That is not necessary. So it's a question of picking some that are useful to you, useful with respect to what you want to achieve. Okay, usually you just pick some, not necessarily one. These days one needs to be very versatile. So you just learn some, just a range of tools which you can use together to do whatever you want to do. Well, various tools are used for data analytics. Common examples are Microsoft Excel is one of the most commonly used, but very popular tool. Very, very popular. So shortly we'll see some of the things one can do with Excel. SPSS is another one. That's also a very rich tool as well. We have R, Python. R is a programming language. Python is one of the most popular programming languages in the world. Of course, we have some specialized visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, and so forth. Okay. Yeah. So there are quite a lot. The five-step process in analytics, in data analysis, traditionally, these are the major steps followed. Identification, identify a problem. Define an objective. An objective has to be defined. Okay. You don't just analyze for the sake of analyzing. You analyze to achieve a certain objective. So that's the beginning point. Determining the um, determining the objective. So that's the beginning point. And then we have you collect data. You have to collect the data that is needed, that needs to be analyzed. The data has to be collected. Okay. There are various ways of doing that. But we won't have time to go into all that right now. But data has to be collected, and in collecting data, there are strategic ways of doing it so that the data you collect is representative, is appropriate. Okay, the data has to be appropriate. It should not be lopsided. It should be balanced and appropriate. Okay, that's a broad topic of its own. But you don't just collect data anyhow. There are professional ways of collecting data, because if the data is not right, the result of the analysis will not be right. Okay, so if that is the beginning point, you just have to collect the right data. Extremely important. Next to that, the data has to be prepared, cleaned, transformed, and all that. Yeah, preparation goes beyond cleaning, but cleaning is a major activity there. Okay, the data needs to be well organized, cleaned. Some part of the data may need to be transformed to other formats. Okay, formats that are amenable to analysis and all that. Then next to that, the actual analysis itself is done using the appropriate models. You have to know the right model to use. Is it a forecasting model? Is it a test of mean, test of variance, and all that? So by examining if you don't understand the objective, you won't be able to choose the right model. That's why understanding the problem statement is very, very, very important. Okay. Yeah. So, a lot of people just jump to analysis, but not knowing that these initial steps, if they are not well done, the analysis will be a waste of time. Okay. Yeah. Then there's visualization of the data. Okay. This data, in many cases, needs to be presented in a visual form that will easily communicate information like graphs, charts, dashboards, and so forth. Of course, you should also be able to communicate your results in a very comprehensive or comprehensible manner, in a way that is professional. Okay, so there are specific ways of presenting um, the results of analysis. There are specific methods of doing that. Okay, present findings through chart, graphs, dashboards, and all that. Now, that's one way of presenting the findings and communicating it. But in some more technical analysis, apart from charts, you need to, like in cases where you have to define a hypothesis, you have to formulate and test hypothesis. In presenting the data, apart from just using charts, you have to explain the output of that output of the tests of the tests of the hypothesis test. Okay, so all that needs to be done during analysis. Everything I said now, those are actually major topics. Uh, These are not things we can really drill down in a few minutes, but I guess we are following. I guess we understand what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, it takes a major detailed uh, detailed session to really trash that. For example, what is hypothesis? How do you formulate hypothesis and all that? Okay, so all that are part of data analytics. Now, and when you're analyzing data, there are different types of analysis. Okay, data analysis can be classified into um, certain categories like descriptive analysis. This is, maybe the commonest kind of analysis. It looks at historical data to understand what happened. So, like in many cases, what this entails is just capturing data, summarizing the data, and visualizing it maybe in the form of charts. It could just be organizing in the form of tables. Okay, for example, what was the sales figure last month? what was the sales figure the month before, what was the profit, what was all those kind of analysis. What is happening? Is sales going up? Is it going down? Those kind of things. So based on historical data, you can easily carry out such analysis. That is descriptive analysis. Diagnostic analysis explores why something happened. Okay, this is a little bit more is more technical, where you are trying to investigate something. Okay, let's say the company's sales suddenly dropped. Why did it drop? What happened? Or website traffic went down. What changed that make that to happen? Those kind of things. Okay, and by how much has it gone down? What is the trend? Is it going up and down? So trying to trace what caused a problem. In such a case, you are doing diagnostic analysis. Predictive analysis is for like forecasting, projecting into the future. Okay, based on what happened in the past up till now, what's going to happen in the future. Okay, those kind of things. For example, let's say it's a school. Okay, they're analyzing data for a school. What is the admission trend like? What has it been like? Is there a possibility that it will be going up? The courses we are offering, is the demand for those courses going up or going down? Those kind of things. So trying to predict what will happen in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, that kind of thing. That kind of analysis is predictive. Okay. Prescriptive, is recommending, this prescriptive goes along with others, okay, based on what has happened, trying to recommend specific actions to take, determining the best marketing strategy, for example, to increase customer retention and the like, So these are kinds of classes of or categories of analysis. Okay, yeah. Please, am I audible? Are we still on the same page?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay. All right. So let's go on. So now let's just talk a little about Excel or data analytics in the context of Microsoft Excel. 1 minute, please. Okay, so getting started with Microsoft Excel. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think most Excel is a commonly used software. So I guess most of us can actually use Excel. Okay, but Excel is, like I said earlier, is quite versatile. It can be used for a lot of things.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay,
Sir, not all of us can use Excel. Oh.
okay. Okay. You are new to Excel, right?
Yes, sir.
You are new
I
to
know a little bit about it, but
Okay,
not all.
okay, all right. Okay, no problem. So we just see what we can do then. So now getting started with Excel. Soon I'll show you the interface as we get along. So just play around with it a little. All right. So for now, let's just look at some of these details before we do a practical demo. Yeah. Now, when getting started, you want to know how do you start or load Excel. That's basically almost the same for every software. The way you start Microsoft Word, the way you start CorelDRAW, and all of that software is basically the same. So that is usually not a problem. Navigating the Excel interface as a new user to Excel, that's the first thing. You should be able to move around on the screen and know what's on the screen. Find your way around and type, enter stuffs, and do whatever you need to do. Data entry and cell addressing and commonly used functions. So those are some of the things you want to be able to do in Excel. So okay, let's just load Excel. Let's see. Let's just load it. Just a minute. Can you see my Excel screen? Can you see my Excel screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is Microsoft Excel, right? This is Microsoft Excel. Um, I believe even if we are not proficient in it, I believe we have all seen this tool before. Now, depending on the operating system you are using, there are various ways you can open the software. In some cases, you might just have the icon on your desktop. So you just double click that and it opens up. Alternatively, you can come to the search box and just type Excel there. You see it comes up, you click it and it opens. Sometimes you see it on this taskbar here. So if you click it, it opens. Okay. So those are just ways that we load this software. Now, when it opens up, I mean, you should be able to move around and do stuff here. Of course, up here, you see the title bar. Title tells you that this is Excel and then the name of the document. Okay, after saving, this book one is going to change to whatever name that you give to it. Okay, um, yeah, well, the most important, arguably the most important section may be this space, this worksheet here. Okay, this worksheet. Of course, we have the tabs also. The tabs. Okay, you click on these tabs, it opens up the various ribbons. Okay, and several tools there used to do different things. Yeah, sorry, we're a little bit fast just to see how we can cover as much as possible. Okay, but if you think I'm too fast, please just let me know. Okay. All right, so here we have what we call the formula bar. Here we have the what we call the name box. Okay, so we have these are the column labels starting from A, B, C, the row numbers from 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Okay, now this square thing, this thing that I'm dropping on the screen, wherever you click it appears. That's called the cell pointer. Okay, now this cell pointer, wherever you type, that's where it appears. Now you should be able to move it around. Okay, let's say for example, just imagine, let's say I want to go to the last row, sorry, last column. Who can tell me what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What do you think the last column is in the first place? Now, to move to the last column, you see, you just hold down, you can just hold down the, let me show you something. Um, you hold down the control key. Okay, I'm showing the keyboard, use the keyboard so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so on your keyboard, you just hold down the control key and press the right arrow key. Control, right arrow key. Okay, so let's try it and see. So I will do that from my end here. Control, right arrow key. You see, it jumps straight to the last column. Can you see that? What's the last column that you can see? XFD, right? Is that right? Hello? Hello? Are we there? Hello? Am I audible? Am I audible, please? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
You are hearing me? Okay. Yeah. So what's the last column we can see? Look at it here.
I think
Column what? XFD, right? Look
yes,
at it.
yes.
XFD. That's the last column here. Okay. So if I want to move the cell pointer to the very first column, I can simply press the home key. This home. Okay. If you have a computer by you, you can just try that and see. Home key. That takes it straight to column A, back to column A. All right. So if I want to go to the very last row down, I can also hold down this control key and press the down arrow key. Control, down arrow key. You see? So how many rows do you think Excel has? Can you see the number of rows? This is the last row. How many rows?
It's about, is it 1 million?
Yes, over 1
400,
million.
it's over 1 million.
Yes.
1,485,076 euros.
Okay. That's a lot, right?
Yes.
That's a lot. So you can see that the rows are a lot. Okay. So let's go back to the top. To go back to the first row up, what do we call rows? These horizontal sections, these are rows. The vertical ones are called columns. Okay. Now, to go back to the first row, you hold down this control key and press the up arrow key. Okay. Instead of going gradually like this, if I want to be going step by step like this, how long do you think it will take for me to get there? It will take a long time, right?
Yes.
So we can't be doing that. So just hold down control, up arrow key, it jumps there. Okay. So these are ways you can move your cursor around. There are times you want to go to a particular cell. Each of these boxes is called a cell. Each of these boxes is a cell. If you want to jump to a particular cell, let's say I want to come to, let me go somewhere, let me color a cell so that when we get there, we know that we are there. This cell now, let me use the one that we can easily remember. What cell is this? You just look here. When you click, look here to tell you the address. This is GAT. The column is G, the row is 80. Okay, this cell GAT, right? I want to put a color there so that when we actually get there, we know that we got it. So don't forget, what's the cell address again?
G80.
GAT. Okay, so you just press Control G. I showed you that control that time. Okay, Control G. You press this control and press G. You hold down control, press G. When you do that, it jumps straight to that. No, it will open this dialog box. Then in the reference here, you just type the address. Okay, G80, and then press OK. Can you see it has gone there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how you move to a particular cell. You can also type it here. You can type it here and press enter. So, but this method is the most general one. Just Control G. Okay, because there are other things you can do here as well. Okay. So, well, let's not spend the whole time on navigating the screen. So that's just an example of, to show you ways in which we can get around um, in the Microsoft Excel environment. Okay, and when working with Excel, we mostly use ranges. Okay, to select a range, you just highlight. To highlight, just click and drag like this. Okay, let's say you have some data. Okay, let's say you have some data and you want to do something to that data. Okay, let's say I have some data now. Okay, maybe this is whatever it is. Okay, and I want to do something to this. Okay, let's say I want to add it up. There are many different ways, or I want to find the average, for example. I can just simply say equals average. You see, there's a function called average here. If I double click it, I can highlight, just click and drag like this. Okay, what I've highlighted now, this is called a range. This is a range now. Okay, and then I just press enter. Okay, so we see Excel you can easily use it to format stuffs and all that. And when working with Excel, you should know that in Excel there are 4 different types of data that you can work with. Four data types that you can work with in Excel. Okay, what are these 4 data types? We have texts or strings, numbers, date and time, and then we have Boolean. Boolean is like true or false. Okay, those are the 4 types of data in Excel. So when working with Excel, you have to really understand these 4 types of data so you know how to use them effectively. Okay, yeah. So um, we can't explore all that in full details so that we can, because what we're trying to do right now is just general overview. Okay, but note that there are different types of data. Let me give you an instance. If, for example, I say equals 45 less than 90, okay, this thing you are saying now is going to produce an answer. What kind of answer do you think it's going to give me? You see, it tells me true. You see, this is a Boolean, we call this a Boolean type or logical type. That's what we mean by Boolean. Okay, why? Why is it saying true? It's saying true because 45 is actually less than 90. Okay, if I had said 450 less than 90, it will say false. All right. Okay, then look at something else. Let's say I say something like Excel. That's a text. How do I know it's a text? Let me type something else, 670. Can you see what's the difference? You put this one on the right, put this one on the left, right? Because it knows that this is text. So for text, by default, they are left justified. For numbers, by default, they are right justified. So with this one now, I can carry out calculations, but with this one, I cannot. Okay, but let me do something. With this other one, I cannot carry out computation. So now, but take note, if you want to carry out calculations, you always start with equal to. Okay, you always start with the equality sign. All right. So as an analyst, if you are going to be using Excel, you just have to be used to all these different, I mean, moving around and doing stuff here shouldn't be a problem for you at all, not at all. Okay, so that you'll be able to use it effectively. This what we are doing now. This is not data analytics. These are just like general Excel stuff. Okay, and you have to be used to a good number of functions. There are functions in Excel. How do we activate this function? I showed you one earlier, like we saw one here, average function. Okay, this one now just calculated the average of all these numbers for us. But if you click this F here, insert function, you see a list of functions. Very, very many. Okay, if you say all now, you see a list of functions. Different functions for different purposes. Okay, different functions for different purposes. So, in Excel, there are several functions. That's the main points. Okay, please 1 minute. Just give me a few minutes, please. All right. So hope everything is clear so far. Is everything clear? Any questions? Hello? Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Please,
Okay.
sir. My question is this thing. Are we going to go through the Excel training? That is like all those some of the things that you've mentioned here.
Yeah, of course. You see,
The
Excel
formulas.
Excel cannot be done in one day.
The
That's why you
25.
see. Yeah. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, it can't be
All
done in
right.
one day. But in the
Okay,
normal,
sir. I
yeah,
understand, sir.
yeah, in the complete data analytics with Excel course, of course, you do Excel. Okay. I'll show you what we are going to cover in the course. We do it very thoroughly, very thoroughly.
Thank you.
Excel is a very rich software, very, very rich. Okay. But the way most people use Excel is like the way some people use
All right.
smartphone. Just use smartphone for only calling and receiving calls. But there's a whole lot in the smartphone. Okay. That's how Excel is. There's a whole lot in Excel. And as a data analyst, you must know how to do it, use it well. Okay. But what we do when we are training people on Excel and data analytics with Excel, we don't assume that you already know Excel. We start from scratch and trash it properly so you can use it for analysis. Okay. Is that okay, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, so there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot in there. Personally, I think knowing Excel is very important for anyone who wants to be an analyst. You may know some other tools, but just add Excel to it. It's a simple and very important software. Okay, it's not really that complex. If you are taught, when you are taught, you see that it's not a complex. It's not complex. Okay, yeah. So now, when working with Microsoft Excel, yeah, we try to just look at navigating, moving around. Data types. I told you the data types. There are four data types. And when you are working with them, you have to be sensitive to that fact. Okay. For example, we saw that there are lots of functions. There are some functions you use on text, different from functions you use on numbers. There are functions for date and time. There are functions for Boolean. Okay. So those are the different things that you learn. Then there's also what we call levels of measurement.
Yes.
Hello. There's what we call levels.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Any question? Hello. Please, we can just mute. When we want to ask questions, we unmute. Okay. All right. There's what we call levels of measurement. Okay. This is purely for analytics. This is for Excel now. These are Excel data types, but these are for analysis. Okay. Purely for analysis. These are statistical kind of thing. Okay. So here data can be classified as nominal, ordinal, or continuous. Okay. Now, when we use the word continuous, we mean we are referring to numerical data. Numerical data. Okay. Numbers. Because in analysis, the type of the data determines the kind of analysis you can do with it. Okay. Then we have ordinal data. Ordinal data are data that can be ordered, like ranked, like first, second, third, like that. Then nominal data are purely descriptive in nature. For example, the color of a car. Let's say you are entering some data. Let's say, for example, we are entering sales data, for example. The description of the item is nominal. What item is it? Is it maybe what do you call it now? An LG so and so phone. Okay, that's a nominal data. Okay, but the quantity purchased maybe is 10 for that day. That is continuous data. Okay, yeah. So another. So this is for ranking. Okay, when you really delve into analytics, these things will be explained in more detail. You really get it as you keep using it over and over again. You get it. Now, why is it important to understand these concepts? Because a lot depend on them. When you have data, when you want to analyze data, the type of data you have determine the type of analysis you can carry out. Even in charts, just charting of data presentation, data visualization. Okay, the nature of the data determines the type of visualization tool that you can use, type of visualization you can do. For instance, when you are dealing with categorical data, these are categorical data. When you are dealing with categorical data, for example, there are certain charts that work well with categorical data. There are certain charts that work well with continuous data. That's why knowing these basics is very important. Very, very important. Choosing the correct measurements improve accuracy of analysis. Okay? When you choose the correct level of measurement, we call these levels of measurement. When you choose the correct one, it makes your analysis to work out better. Okay? We have to proceed so we are able to complete our agenda for today. Just a minute. So we can complete our agenda. Okay. Yeah. So there are many different type of functions. Is a whole lot. Many types of functions. Some are for mathematical computation. Some are for logical operations. Some for string manipulation, data business computation, data analysis, and so forth. Okay. Analyzing data using Microsoft Word. So let's see. Analyzing data using Microsoft Word. What are some of the things that can be done here? First of all, Microsoft Word on its own. Okay, sorry, Microsoft Excel. I'm sorry. Microsoft Excel on its own is a very great tool, very powerful software tool. Microsoft Excel is an industry standard spreadsheet application used for organizing, calculating, and analyzing data. Its primary practical application includes financial modeling, budgeting, inventory tracking, and project management. Okay, so in Microsoft Excel, you can use formulas, you can use what we call pivot tables. Pivot tables are used for summarizing data. So in data analysis, we use pivot tables a whole lot. It's one of the very commonly used feature of Excel. I mean, when it comes to analysis, pivot table, and charts. They are commonly used, and of course, analytic functions for analysis as well. Okay, users can turn on raw data sets into actionable business insight. Remember what we say analysis is, data analytics. We said it's used for transforming data, for working on data so as to extract insight from the data. So what is being said here actually refers to data analysis. Okay. By using formulas, pivot table, and charts, users can turn raw data sets into actionable business insights. Okay. When data comes, you see, the data that we analyze sometimes is so much that if you don't do analysis, you really cannot make any sense of the data. To look like the data is useless. To look like it's useless. Now let me see. Let me open a sample data set for you. So let me just open a sample data set. So maybe you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, let's use this one for example. Can you see this data set? This data you are seeing is a real life data collected from suspected cancer patients. Okay, breast cancer patients. So these are all this information you are seeing. They are information collect. These are real life information. Just these are information collected in the US from patients. That's of course that's why their names are not here. We don't know who they collected them from. So we just collected for analysis. Okay. Now all these data you are seeing, all these things, there's no way anybody can make anything out of this. Not until it's analyzed. After analysis, okay, you can extract very useful information. Like you see this column you are seeing, diagnosis. This diagnosis, okay, it has a B and M. This B refers to what they call benign. M is called malignant. So those that are M here, those are the people that actually have, all of them have tumors, all of them have growths, right? But these growths, these ones are the cancerous ones. Okay. Now, this data can be used for analysis to come up with very important information that can be used to make decisions. Okay. So, but not until it's analyzed, it's just you cannot really use it for anything so useful. So that's what we mean about when we talk of getting insights from data, useful insights from data. So not until you analyze this data to get insight from it, the data is almost like useless. So that's why data analytics is very, very important. Okay, very important. All right. So let's please, as I move on, if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask a question. Yeah, Excel is being expanded. More and more features are being added. Oh, please, I think somebody needs to, hearing sounds. Somebody needs to mute, please. All right. So, even Python is being added to um, Excel now. Okay. So, according to Wikipedia, in 2023, Microsoft announced Excel will support the Python programming language directly. Okay, which means Python will now be usable even within Excel. As of 2025, Python in Excel is available to enterprise and business users with some exceptions and in preview for family, personal, and educational users. So for now, this is still not fully released yet, so it's not generally available for now. Okay, so Excel is being developed more and more. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so let's just quickly run through some things, then I will do a brief. I'll show you a brief demo just to show, you know, some kind of things that can be done with Excel. Okay, we just do something practical, you know. But let's just run through some of these. Let's just take like 5 to 10 minutes to complete this. So Excel and its practical uses or practical applications include in finance and accounting, project management, human resource management, sales and customer relationship, inventory management, and of course for data analytics and visualization. Most Excel users don't take full advantage of the power of Excel. Okay, most Excel users don't do that. They just use a few functions. But if you really dive in to learn the deeper functions of Excel, you stand to benefit a lot, and that can open some doors for you professionally. You know, that's the truth in terms of job, in terms of opportunities. Okay. All right. So, data science is a broader terminology. Data analysis actually fall into um, data analytics is actually part of data science, sort of. So, in data science, we do data capture, we prepare the process. Similar to what I showed you before, that was like a traditional approach to data analysis. But in modern day data science approach, we usually just say that the phases of data analysis or data science are um, capturing the data, that's getting it into the environment where you want to analyze it, like Excel, preparing the data, that has to do with cleaning, transforming, organizing, and all that. Then exploring the data. In data exploration, you use various approaches to try to understand how the data is organized. Is it a data with upward trend, downward trend, modulating trend? You know, how is it organized? Is it a normal distribution and those kind of things? Okay, and of course, the next step is to analyze the data and then interpret and then prepare. Not is prepared. It's not to prepare the data anyway. I mean, um, to prepare the results. Prepare the results now. Not this preparation we are talking about here. You interpret, prepare the results. I mean the reports, and of course communicate it to the appropriate quarters. Okay. Yeah. So in our analytics data analytics training, we do all this. Okay, everything we've been talking about, try to touch on all that. But these are the key, areas. Okay, well, look at measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, measures of position, hypothesis testing, forecasting, test of mean, test of proportions, parametric and non-parametric test, and so on and so forth. Okay, we look at all that. Okay, as as a Microsoft Excel, sorry, as a data analyst, there are some key skills that you must have. What are some of these skills? What are some of these skills? Hello, hello, am I still audible? Any questions? Any questions, please? Any question? I think I have a message. Let me see. Oh, Massimo says he can't hear. Wow. Can you hear me now? Wow, 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 wow. Massimo Roberto, can you hear me now? Maybe it's the network where you are. Oh, so sorry for that. So just check where you are there. Are you using a phone? Are you using a computer? So it depends. Don't know what you are using over there. Hello? Hello? Can you guys still hear me? Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay. All right. So at this point, let's just do some practical demonstration, okay, of the real analytical thing so that can begin to wrap up. Okay, let me show you. Let me just show you something. Hello? Okay, let's go to Excel. Now, let me show you an example of can you see my screen? This is a sample. This is done was done with Microsoft Excel. Just examine it. What do you think is about? Can somebody explain what do you think you are seeing? What's this about? What is this about? Okay, but I hope I'm audible. As I'm explaining, I hope I'm audible. Hope I'm very audible. Let me show you another one. Another Excel sample. Look at this one. This is an Excel visualization. This is an Excel visualization. Hello? Are we still hearing at all?
Yes.
You are hearing me? Okay. This this is an Excel visualization. Okay. This was done with Microsoft Excel. Okay. And let me show you the data that was used to do this. This is the data that was used to do that visualization. This data. Okay. This visualization is just showing is about vehicle fuel efficiency analysis. Okay. It's trying to show you um, for example here is showing you that the miles MPG, the miles per gallon used by cars, vehicles. How does it change with weight? These are the weight of the vehicle. These are the miles per gallon. So it's showing you the trend. Okay, just different information. And this information you are seeing, they are dynamic. If you choose different values here, you see, can you see it's changing? Okay, dynamic visualization done with.
Excuse me, I'm not hearing you again.
You are not hearing me, but I can hear you. Are you hearing me now? Hello, are you hearing me? Can you hear me now? Are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I don't know about it.
Hello? Okay, Mr. Philip, you are hearing me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for the rest of us, just check your network. You can change position, okay? Usually, when you are in an online session like you just try to get a good position. Everything will be okay. You'll be able to hear clearly, okay? Just move around so you can get strong network. Because from my end, everything is okay, okay? Everything is okay. All right, so this is a typical data visualization. Okay, but to do this takes there's a whole lot of things here. You have pivot tables, pivot charts, you have different things here. Okay, to do this is more like a project, so I won't be able to go into the details of these ones right now. But for the other one I showed you, let's try and work on that. Okay, let me show you. Um, so meanwhile, in the main data analytics course, of course, when you have done it, you'll be able to handle things like this very easily. Okay, even much more than this. This is just visualization now. You'll be able to do more complex analysis, okay, than that. So we are going to explore that, and of course, um, for those of you that are here today, could come. We are going to offering you very special discounts, okay, very big, up to 50%, so you can take advantage of this. All right, so now can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's the lookup table here. Let me show you what's going on here. Let me show you what's going on here. You see, this is a lookup table. These are principal. You know, like when calculating interest, use principal rate and time. Okay, these are time in years. Okay, so what is happening is okay, there's something that is hidden here that I need to expose for you to see, so that you know what's actually happening. Let's see. All right, so you see there's some data here. Okay, you see principal, rate, time, interest, then the amount here. Okay, this doesn't look like a Excel screen, right? So let me bring it back to the normal Excel screen that we are used to. Okay, see the lines are showing up. All right, So now this calculation is done here. Okay, based on these figures, the interest is calculated here, right? Using this formula. Interest is principal times time times rate divided by 100. Principal times time times rate divided by 100. Okay, then the amount is principal plus interest. Hope you get what I'm saying. Let's say you take a loan. Okay, let's say you take a loan. If the loan is 900,000 or 9 million, for example, okay, and then all the interest calculated is so and so amount. So the amount you are due to pay is this figure, the original principal plus the interest. Okay, that's the calculation that we have done here now. Principal rate time. Okay, we'll do the calculation here of principal. That's this first one. That's this C4 times rate times time divided by 100. Okay, then here we are calculating amount, which is the principal plus this interest. That gives this amount. Okay, that's what we have there, right? But now we want to use this information, we want to populate a table, create a table like this so that the people using it that are granting the loans, they are able to know that, oh, okay, if I give out a loan of this amount for one year, what should be the amount the person is paying back? That is this. Do you get? That's what this table is for. It's a lookup table. For any particular amount, we are able to see how much the person is supposed to pay back. So if somebody takes 5 million for, I want to see if you understand what I'm saying. If somebody takes 5 million for 3 years, how much will the person pay back? What's the amount?
$600 something thousand, but this thing is not really clear.
Okay. See. Okay, let me see. No. Okay, maybe because, okay. Okay, you were thinking is this figure up here, right? Okay, maybe I should have clicked here for you to see it. Can you see it now? What's the figure?
Okay.
This
Can you
one.
zoom it?
Okay, let me zoom in.
I'm saying 7,250,000.
Thank you. Okay, so that is it, right? Now, how can we quickly create this table? This table can be created. To create this table, Excel can help you to create this table. Okay, so that it can be used by bankers who grant loans. So instead of them to be calculating all the time, they can just use this table. Once it's created, somebody is taking loan, you can look at it. Okay, it's 3.5 years. Okay, that is the amount. Okay, do you think this is useful?
Yes, it is.
It is useful. Okay, so how can this be created? How can this be created?